Hello. Welcome to Among the Lilies.
Cheers.
Cheers. Good to have you, Mom.
Thank you, Cameron.
That's right. Did you hear that? That's my mom. Thought I'd have my mom on the show for y'all. I get all the time people. Well, I have so many different listeners. So I have this one lady, shout out to my 78-year-old. She's lovely. She's 78. She's on YouTube. The majority of YouTube people are like in their 20s. And some are like early 30s, have their families, and they're like, you're like a mom figure to me. So now you're gonna be like a grandmother figure to them. But this one lady on YouTube is 78 years old. And she's our like honorary grandma, and she's always giving advice. She's like, I just need you young people to know. And she's like, but she refers to me as the young person too. She's like, oh, Cameron, you're so young. I wish I had your wisdom at your age. And she's the sweetest thing.
And energy.
And energy. She has a lot of energy, and she just offers such a nice insight, especially for like the new moms. And then I also have single girls. So hello, single ladies. I'm not forgetting about you. But in this episode, I'm gonna have a chat with my mom. I gave her a glass of wine, slancha. My mom taught me to appreciate wine. So for anyone that doesn't know, I have three sisters. So my mom has 4 girls. So I actually put something up on Patreon. So it's for some of my listeners, for some of my supporters. I told them that I was going to have you on, and I put that picture you sent me of the 2 of us. And Marie says, has anyone ever told her she looks like Bonnie Hutt? Do you know who that is?
Oh, yes. Like an actress from like the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Or Goldie Hawn. Someone else.
Yeah, Goldie Hawn. Yeah.
I have
heard that. Yeah.
And then someone wants advice for raising 4 girls. So she also has 4 girls.
Patience, organization. I was a strict mom.
Who's the least organized person you know?
Cameron. Yeah. I'm the other extreme.
So if you're saying you need patience to raise 4 girls,
yeah.
Well, I have 2 girls and 2 boys, and
yeah,
I am not organized.
Well, I have 6 grandsons, and I have learned that there's a lot of...
Oh, you do have 6.
I have
didn't
6
think that
grandsons.
Was right. I'm like, I don't...
I've learned a lot.
Keone really tipped the scale with her 2 boys.
Yeah, so I've got 6 and 5 granddaughters.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, that I have my granddaughters. I love my grandsons. They're very active.
Yeah. The boys are way more active.
And like the girls like to craft. They like to go shopping. They like to do like Nana things that I like to do. Yeah.
Is that why I always went golfing with Dad when you went shopping with my sisters?
Definitely.
I was a girl, but
You were a wrestler. Do they know that?
Yep. I was captain of the wrestling team, anyone that doesn't know. But I also did like every other sport. I was very much a tomboy. You
were my tomboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would go off with Dad when the girls would go do girly. And in fairness, I didn't really like the girly things, so it worked out well for me. I got to drive the little golf cart.
We also stayed home a lot. You know, when I raised 2 girls, there wasn't even a fast food restaurant in one of the towns we lived in. Same with South Carolina. We lived in West Newbury. There wasn't like fast food.
Really?
So we stayed home a lot. There wasn't a lot of TV. We did a lot of walking around the neighborhood, playing out in the yard.
I remember my mom is an amazing cook. She's a very good chef and cook, baker, all of the above. But one thing that we always did was eat dinner as a family. And our dinner always was there. I think there was always a salad.
Yeah.
There was always meat, vegetables. And I think most of the time we had dessert, which was pretty fun.
Yeah. And when you were at school, I always had dinner made for the nighttime. So when you got home from school, we got to spend time together.
Do you know I don't know who I went home with a friend from school. I don't know where we lived, but I was young. I was probably like around Kiara's age, so like around 10. And I remember going to a friend's house and I'm like, where are your brownies? And she's like, what? I'm like, did your mom make brownies or cookies? Like, where's your like welcome home snack? And she's like, oh, are you hungry? There's a bag of chips. And I'm like, what do you mean a bag of chips? Like, where's your welcome home snack? Like, you would always bake something and put it in. What do you call that thing with the pretty glass?
Oh, like a cake stand?
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is I discovered Southern Living in the 80s, that magazine.
Okay.
So I would make all the recipes out of Southern Living. I have been getting Southern Living, I figured out the other day, for 40 years. 40 years I've gotten that magazine.
That makes sense. I was born in the 80s.
Yeah. So. Grammy asked me, how long have you been getting that magazine?
Do you still cook from it?
Yeah, I just made a really good recipe. This month's recipe was a chicken pot pie, but it really wasn't in a pie. It was more of a biscuit.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had enough to send over to Kirsten. I think Meredith maybe. And then for Dad and I and Grammy. I cook a lot for Grammy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's one of the things I want to talk to you about. We're coming up on the holidays.
Yep.
So we're getting ready for Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then New Year's.
Yeah.
And I think that's also something you very much excelled in when we were, not just when we were kids, now too. Like I still have friends.
Well, not this Thanksgiving because
But I think you will. I think you will. But like I know a lot of my friends, Rachel in particular, is always like, how would Carrie Mater do this meal or this holiday? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
One of my best friends is one of 4 girls as well, and she would do a lot of holidays at our house, and she just loved the way you would just have a sprawl. Like like the dining room always has a different theme.
Yeah.
How many times is it every single season? Because I feel like you change it for St. Patrick's Day even. Am I wrong in that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we always have a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the longest your dining room is set? Like
well, do you know, actually I was thinking in September this year, I did all my pumpkins, and then October, and now it's November. So for 3 months, I've had a really beautiful breakfast table.
Okay.
And then on my mantle, I always decorate my mantle. And then like even though we knew we weren't going to be home for Thanksgiving, each place setting has a white pumpkin on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's always a theme.
Yeah. So I have friends that like Pottery Barn magazines or whatever, or for you it was Southern Living. And I have friends that are like, are you not into that? I'm like, no, I grew up in that magazine. I don't need it. I'm good. It's beautiful and amazing, but I can't do that.
Right.
Like that's not my gift.
Yeah.
You know, like sure, you can buy me flowers from the store. Thank you very much. And I can rearrange them a little bit, but I'm like, that's good.
Dad's like, hey, I stopped counting after 20 pumpkins. How many pumpkins do you have? I really get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we got a pumpkin this year.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, but
yeah, we have a lot of pumpkins still. Yeah. Even when we go camping, I'm bringing a centerpiece.
Okay, so tell us about, okay, so you kind of giggled when I said you do all the holidays just so.
Yeah. So this year we're going camping with Meredith and her 3 children.
So this is one of my sisters.
And we're going to Arkansas, and they have a camper and we have an RV, and we're having Thanksgiving in our camper.
Okay.
So, but I will do the picnic table with, fresh pumpkins and candles and decorate it. But
it'll be fancier than a lot of people's homes, but it's camping for you. Was it Keone? One of my sisters sent pictures, and she's like, I don't know what this is, but this is not camping. She's like, I feel like this is like a stage above glamping. It's not even glamping. It's like, because you have like real wine glasses and real.
Yeah. Yeah, it was driving Dad a little bit nuts. He's like, this is camping. Why, Carrie? Why? But I love it. And, but all my sides are all ordered. Brian is an amazing chef, griller. But
outdoor.
He and Dad are going to do a fried turkey.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. And then you have all the others ordered from a store. So all your sides will be
everything's ordered. Yeah. Even the pies are ordered this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It just takes the load off. And how big is your
Our kitchen is
like the size of us right here. Can you see us on the screen? Like this this size?
Basically. Yeah. Yeah, it's small.
Yeah.
It's small. So we'll spend a lot of time outside. It's fun. We play a lot of games. Meredith's kids love to come to our camper for breakfast, and I love it. We play country music on the radio all the time, which I never do at home. And we just have a lot of laughs.
I don't picture you playing a lot of country.
Yeah, when we go camping, it's all country music. I love Blake Shelton.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm seeing a whole different side of you.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens. I put spotlights on you and
Yeah.
this whole other side comes out.
Yeah.
Country music. Nice. Right now it's Christmas music. So my parents are visiting from Texas and we have Christmas music going because you got the kids their Christmas gifts. And my dining room table turned into Santa's workshop.
It did.
And do you have them all wrapped? Are you all set?
They're all wrapped.
Yeah.
They're ready.
They're wrapped and ready to go?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So you like to be on top of things. What are other tips and tricks for holidays? In particular, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Do you know what? I do everything ahead of time because I like to sit with my family and my company. So I am never in the kitchen when we have company. When you walk in the door, it's cocktails and appetizers and everything's already ready. Might take me 3 days to get it ready, but I can't be in the kitchen. I want to
Yeah.
be with my friends and family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then especially when you had little kids, did you still do
Same thing. I was
Okay.
very organized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember that. I remember you being very organized,
Yeah.
but I don't think I remember like if you cooked ahead of time or anything.
Always dinner ahead of time. So
Okay.
when you guys got home from school, I could go through your folders, we could sit and talk, and then we would always sit down as a family.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys were home, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know, that's just the way, you know, you grew up.
So my best friend down the street, Rachel, family ate early. They had dinner at like 5, and then we had dinner more like 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah. And we were really skinny, but we ate so much. Do you remember? We used to go have dinner at her house and then come have dinner at our house.
Yeah. We love the Waldrops.
But it was our second dinner. So
You know, one of my best memories growing up was going to my grandparents' main house, which was in Arlington, right outside of Boston, because they had a second home in my hometown, which was a beach house.
that's the beach house we used to go to.
Yeah, Green Harbor.
In Green Harbor.
So one of my best memories was, you know, going for Thanksgiving because my grandmother, this is where I got it from,
Really?
had the table set in her dining room. And we would start with shrimp cocktail in a little Waterford glass. And, you know, growing up, I just thought, I want to do this. She's the one with the candy bowls.
Okay, is that where it comes from?
It all comes from that. How many candy bowls do I have?
Oh gosh, way too many. Way
Yeah.
too many. And even when she comes and visits, all of a sudden my house has candy bowls. And I'm like, I don't even buy this candy. Where is this coming from? Do you notice I keep putting them up high? Because my kids are like me. Like, you have much better self-control than me. Like, if I had a bowl of candy sitting out, I'd just eat the whole bowl.
Yeah.
I can't just have candy sitting out.
Ask Dan. I've got an M&M problem.
Okay. Do you know about the Lent that I gave up sugar?
I've done that before too.
No. Do you know what Matt did at one point?
No.
So we were about a week into Lent, and so I was doing decent enough with my sugar, giving it up, or so I thought. Or it was at least chocolate. I gave up chocolate, and at one point, I guess I got a little hankry, and I was being not kind to my husband and children.
Oh.
Matt grabbed a king-size bag of M&Ms and
threw
threw it
them.
at me.
I love that.
He was like, just eat it. Just eat it. This is not worth it. The kids and I are suffering so much. Stop. Eat the friggin' M&Ms. And I'm like, sorry, was that bad? He's like, yes.
Oh, I
Don't
love
make
that.
us all suffer.
Yeah.
So, but I don't eat M&Ms now.
Okay, another memory I have from Arlington. It's probably not allowed now. My grandmother had the most beautiful turkeys that were big, and they were wrapped in foil.
Oh.
It was a
kind of like the Easter bunnies.
But listen, solid milk chocolate. This is the weird part. They were candles too.
What?
I know. I don't know how I don't think it's even allowed to do anymore, but they were candles too. So we would have.
You'd light them?
You'd light
and they
them.
burn and then you like lick it and eat it?
The chocolate would get soft, but I loved those turkeys.
Oh my
And they were
goodness.
beautiful, like C's candy. You know how C's?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They wrapped their chocolate turkeys. It was very similar to that. Absolutely beautiful.
Okay. Do you know we had a friend visiting from Switzerland, and I asked her if she was going to have any of our chocolate, and you know what she said? Oh, no. In Switzerland, we use leftover milk products. Yes, and we make chocolate. You use leftover, how do you call it? Crayola?
Yeah.
She's right.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
That
like,
was
your
us.
chocolate is wax.
Well, Australians are like that too.
I know. Their
with their
chocolate's
cookies
so good.
and their chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Their
learned that.
biscuits, not cookies.
Do you know that I just found 3 different kind of, is it Tim
Tams?
Tim Tams. Did I send you a picture of that?
You did. Where was that?
I was at a market with Grammy, and she was talking to me, and I said, Mom, I hate to be rude, but
There's Tim Tams.
those cookies are the best cookies, and they're from Australia.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're these chocolate biscuits that have they're like fudge.
Yeah,
They're
we
kinda
got mint, caramel, And then just the plain ones that were just dipped in, they're all good.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
dipped in chocolate, and they're really good with a cup of tea. I feel
Yeah.
like that's the difference between a cookie and a biscuit. Cookies you just eat on your
Yeah.
own, and they're very American. And then biscuits, like it belongs with a cup of tea, and
Yeah.
it's delicious.
Deb and Gaz, when we were in Australia, introduced us to all the,
Yeah, I love the
I know,
Tim
all the
Tams.
good stuff.
Yeah, I miss the. It's good because I'm more of a chocolate snob now, so I'm like, I only want the good stuff. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I can't do Hershey at all. I don't think I can do
Right.
any Hershey products.
And all the bakeries, we were shocked when we were in Australia. All those bakeries with the breads and stuff.
Yeah,
So yummy.
so good. Oh, just wait, France is gonna be even more amazing.
So does your audience know I grew up in Massachusetts?
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Okay,
Actually.
so every year with my grandparents, we would go to Plymouth Plantation.
Yeah.
And my grandmother would have her mink coat on, and we would stroll through the plantation, would go back to Plymouth Rock, even though we lived in Plymouth and saw the rock all the time. But that was a tradition for me growing up.
I remember going to the Plymouth Rock as a
Yeah,
kid.
yeah, it's like real teeny tiny. People are so disappointed when they see it. But yeah, Plymouth Plantation.
You know, one of my main memories of Nana is sneaking in beer and lobster rolls in the nursing home.
Do you know those lobster rolls were from McDonald's?
I know.
Yeah.
We would fight over who would hide it under our dress.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah, I
that?
do
And we'd go
remember
in
that.
and we'd like have beer bombs. We were like little girls. We were like, Nana needs her beer and lobster rolls. And we'd like sneak it in under our dresses.
Yeah. My grandmother was a little high maintenance.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, tell me more about her. Okay, so would you just do all the holidays over there?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or certain holidays?
Yeah, no.
Because both sides of, so both my parents, both sides of their family are all Massachusetts.
We are. It was like Norman Rockwell, because my grandfather would stand in his suit and tie in his own home and carve that turkey.
Really?
And my grandmother was.
And this is Grampy's parents.
Yes. He was an only child. My grandfather was very successful, and they took a lot of pride in their homes and in the way they dressed. And Nana always had
a brooch.
A brooch.
Yeah.
Always.
I remember seeing, I remember when we used to go to the house in Green Harbor.
Yeah, Green Harbor's their summer
Harbor. Just her stuff was lovely, and that house was lovely, and I remember having very fond memories. But I don't picture Grampy in that world.
Isn't that funny? Yeah.
Like, my memories of Grampy are very different.
Well, you know what's funny? We would always go to my other grandmothers, my mother's mother and father.
Grandma Cameron.
Yeah, Grandma Cameron. Teeny tiny house. But for Thanksgiving, all my cousins would be there. And so there's like 13 cousins. She would always have her box of Russell Stover candies. And I mean, when I say a small house, very tiny. And we would pass that box of candy around until it was gone.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and that particular grandmother always made the best pies.
Is she the one who taught me how to play cards?
She taught you how to play poker with money.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Well, she taught me how to shuffle. I remember that.
That would be... That grandmother was a little different than my other grandmother. Two extremes.
Yeah. So this is my great-grandmother, just to clarify.
No, that is Grammy's mother.
Right.
Yeah, you're great.
She's my great-grandmother.
Oh, she's my grandmother.
Yeah, she's your grandmother, but my great-grandmother.
You know, it's funny.
Grammy, my mom's mom, is still alive. So I'll talk about Grammy, but then also, like, I have quite a few memories of my great-grandparents. Which
yes,
I don't
you
think
do. Yeah.
Very common for...
Well, the other thing, too, with that particular grandmother... she was Polish.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather was a Scotsman, very Catholic, John Paisley Cameron. Mm-hmm. And when my grandmother would get mad during the holidays at my grandfather, she would swear in Polish. And I remember saying to my mom, "What is Grandma talking about? What language is this?" She's like, "You don't want to know."
Oh my goodness.
You don't want to know. Isn't that funny?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she would speak in Polish. And I'll say to Drake, my youngest granddaughter, she has the biggest brown eyes, and John Henry too. And my grandmother's Cameron had the biggest brown eyes. And I'll just say to Drake, I never thought I'd have a grandchild with brown eyes, but
because all the rest of us are blue,
all blue. But
so there's 2 brown and how many?
Out of the 11 kids, there's 2 brown. Yeah. But when Drake looks at me and talks to me, I'm like, "You remind me of my grandmother." Yeah, because she had the best eyes, like chocolate brown eyes.
I remember visiting her in the nursing home, and she'd be talking to me and call me Marjorie. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no,
Yeah.
I'm Cameron. I know, Marjorie Cameron. I'm Cameron too, whatever. And I'm like, no, 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 sorry. So I'm Marjorie's granddaughter. Oh, so sorry, so sorry. Carrie, that's right. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, 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 Carrie's my mom. Oh, stop it. Carrie, you're not old enough to have kids. And I'm like, okay, but I'm Carrie's daughter.
Yeah.
No, 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 you're not old enough. And I'm like, okay. And so I was either Marjorie or Carrie, but very odd would I be Cameron. Like she would forget,
Yeah.
or like she wanted her beads. She would say, get my beads, get my beads. She wanted
Oh.
the rosary beads.
Her rosary beads, she wore like a necklace.
Oh, she loved. And I remember
Yeah.
one time being like, Grandma Cameron, do you want me to pray the rosary with you? What are you talking about? What are you on about, Carrie? You don't pray these, you hold them. They're your prayer beads.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, but there's like prayers that you say, no, you don't. What are you on about? I'm like, all right, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. She would pray for anyone. And I think all my cousins, I did, my mom, if there was something going on in our lives, she would be the first person we would tell because we know she would pray for them. Yeah, and she did. She wore her rosaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a really...
She loved people too.
Loved men.
Men especially.
Yeah, because my grandfather died when I was like 11. And then she did remarry. And then after her husband died, she loved men.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So can I share the story about Brian? Do you mind?
I can't even remember. What is it?
Okay. So my older sister's husband used to like model for Abercrombie and Fitch. He's like a good...
Didn't he?
I'm pretty sure he did. I think he did. I think he did like in college. He was a bartender too, whatever. But yeah,
Brian's very handsome.
He's very handsome. So their nicknames were Barbie and Ken, you know, and they're just very... Yeah. The joke is don't try to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses are like here when the Bowlings are here. So you just... Yeah. So they're very... Both of them. Meredith's really beautiful too. They're good looking. So this is before he was officially part of the family. We were in Cape Cod. Do you remember this?
No.
At Shelley and Kevin's?
No.
Okay, so please don't show this to Grammy. I don't think my mom will mind me sharing this story, but I think Grammy would.
Oh, gosh.
Because it's her mom, but that's fine. So Brian, so he's early 20s, and at this point, I mean, she was old, right? Like, how old do you think?
Oh, late 80s.
Yeah, so she's older, right? And
what'd she do?
Brian walks in front of her, and she reaches out and pinches him on the bum.
Oh, yeah.
And he jumps, and she goes, sorry, Sonny, you can't put anything that good looking in front of me and not expect me to do anything about it.
Oh, my gosh, that does sound...
that?
Yes. She was so funny. So funny. Yeah, that does sound like her.
Yeah. I think she just always made comments to... And then I think she got to the age where it's like, doesn't matter. And I remember her telling me about her different boyfriends. And
like married boyfriends.
Well, in the nursing home, I feel like all the guys... She's like, all the guys are after me.
Oh, my gosh. You know,
like, you are a beautiful woman.
It's funny because, you know, Grammy has dementia, my mom, and she can't remember a lot of short-term memory, but she will sit and tell stories of her childhood, her siblings, and her parents. And she could even tell you the name of her dog from childhood.
Really?
And I'm like, isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Like the mind is like so clear on some things and then it gets foggy on other things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. It's amazing. I always remember with fondness too, Aunt Edie and Uncle Al. I think because my I don't remember either sets of grandparents ever being married. Were they married in my lifetime? They were already divorced, yes?
Yes.
When
like
I
my,
grew up, sorry,
yeah.
there's like a
well,
pause.
my parents divorced. Gosh, I was in my 20s.
Yes.
You were a little girl. Dad's parents, same thing, in their 20s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you didn't know them as a couple.
So and then I feel like, were the great-grandparents around? The great-grandmothers I have fond memories of, but were any of my great-grandfathers?
Yeah, my grandfather was around.
Okay.
Pop up.
Okay. I don't really remember him. I remember Nana a lot.
Yeah. He was a really, really good man. I just remember in my childhood wishing he were my dad.
Yeah.
Like I loved and idolized him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a really good Irishman and the best water blue eyes. And always he dressed and had his initials on his shirt. And I mean, everything was tailor-made for him. I loved my pop-up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so different than Grampy, than what I remember.
Right,
Grampy. So it's
right.
odd that that's his son. But I remember Aunt Edie and Uncle Al, I remember being like,
Yeah.
I want to be like them when I grow up. Like, I think they were the first, like, older married couple that I have memories
Yeah,
of.
they had a good marriage.
They had, like, this tiny bed. And he's a big guy. I'm like, how do the two of you even fit in that bed? And they just, I don't know, just the way they would talk to each other and the tone of voice that they would use.
Yeah.
And they just loved each other. And I remember going around and picking like blueberries and raspberries.
In their yard.
Yeah, in their yard.
Do you know, he was a superintendent of school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of a school district. And so he had a lot of patience.
Yeah, he did. I remember him being extremely patient.
Yeah.
Where Grampy did not.
No.
Yeah, I remember complaining because I was getting ashes on me in the back seat and he was smoking. Yeah. He's like, well, leave your window cracked. And I'm like, no, could you please not smoke? Like, Well,
you know what's interesting is, now that you're talking about my dad, I wanted to raise my family so differently than the way I was raised.
We were.
Because we were, as a child, I was seen and not heard. And we were fed before my dad got home from the office. And we were put to bed.
Okay.
And that was just kind of the way I grew up.
Okay, is it a generational thing or is it your parents' thing?
No, it was. I was born in the 50s. So, yeah, definitely.
Seen, not heard.
Yeah.
When dad gets home from work, you're quiet in bed.
And they could just give you the look. And
oh, you gave the look. You still give the look.
I give you the look.
You try to give my kids the look, and you're like, I gave them the look. I'm like, my kids don't know the look.
It's funny. Kirsten's kids know the look because I have never had to discipline them. I give them the look, and then I'll say, do you know that Nana has a timeout seat? And they'll both look up at me, and I'm just like, well, I've never had to use it. But most of my grandkids know the look.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're the only ones that live out of state, and half my kids' life we lived out of country. So I feel like they know if you're upset with them. They know
the bowlings all know the look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could sit there quietly, but you got to be very quiet because we're recording. Yeah, you could sit quietly, but you can't come talk.
Peter, pumpkin eater.
Do you have a question for me?
My head hurts.
Your head hurts. I'm sorry. Why don't you go put an ice pack on it? Or you can go take a bath. Or go watch a show, and I will help you when I come back.
Good thing he didn't go swimming.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. Yeah, honey, I go lay down somewhere, my love. Peter, not in here, though. Out in your room, my love. Peter Frad. Thank you. I know you're going to show all my audience how very obedient you are. All right, head out. Yep. Bye-bye. Thank you. When I'm done. Bye. Speaking as the look, I'm like, I don't have the look. I'm like, I should have a look. Just go. That's my red light thing that I was telling you about. My red light and ultraviolet.
Yeah, I saw that over there.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a spaceship. So if you want to get beamed up, let me know. Okay, what else? Okay, so what were other things?
Okay, I have to tell you something. You probably already know this. Cameron and I would butt heads as Cameron was growing up.
What? Me?
Yeah.
You would butt heads with me?
Yeah.
I'm so perfect. Why would you?
But the funny thing is,
I do know this.
And I would say to Dad, I don't understand what's going on. He goes, out of the 4 daughters, she's the one that's most like you. You and Cameron are most alike, so you're going to butt heads.
Were you captain of the wrestling team? Were you really good at hitting home runs?
I was a
sliding into base?
I was a Girl Scout.
We were not alike like that. I love the sports and the outdoors.
No, I did figure skating. I did roller skating. I did the Girl Scouts. I rode horses.
You're more of an artist. You like to draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But personality-wise, yeah.
Yeah. So don't you think you would have been nicer to me because you understood where I was coming from?
Oh, I hope Rachel sees this.
Yeah. Oh, Rachel will love this.
Yes. Yes.
She wishes she was sitting beside you right now with a glass of wine as well.
I know that. We love Rachel.
Oh.
What else did you want to say?
I don't know, whatever else. That is true. I do think that we're alike in certain ways that I think, and in fairness, being a parent now who I have kids that are, and I think it's more, do you know the temperaments at all? Have we done the temperament test with you?
No.
We need to do it. So I think you're either melancholic choleric or choleric melancholic. So if you think of Winnie the Pooh characters, so Tigger is sanguine. It's very much life of the party, go go, fun fun fun. The melancholic is very orderly. The rabbit. What's the rabbit's name? Is it rabbit? I don't know.
It's rabbit.
Okay, so melancholic,
Yeah.
like is very organized, very
Yeah, I like rabbit.
Yeah.
But do you know Sex and the City, the movie?
No, I mean I know of
Well,
it.
I'm
I've
Charlotte.
never seen it.
I'm Charlotte on Sex and the City.
That's lost
Because
for me. I don't know it. I've never seen it.
That's so funny. She was like the good girl.
Okay.
So I'm Charlotte. You don't want to be a Samantha.
I don't want to be anyone on Sex and the City, to be honest with you. Could I be in the Bible instead of Sex and the City? I'm going to be on The Chosen. I am. Who am I going to be on The Chosen?
Wait, are you Winnie the Pooh?
No.
Christopher Robinson.
No, Winnie the Pooh is, once I used the Winnie the Pooh reference, I was like, I don't know if I remember what everyone is. So cholerics are, so I'll tell you what the personalities are, and then you tell me the Winnie the Pooh character. I think Dad is actually pretty, he has a lot of the different things, which is good. Like, that's what you want. They say Jesus is, like, perfectly balanced, all the temperaments. Dad definitely has choleric. Cholerics, like, tell you, I'm choleric sanguine. Kiara, I think, is also choleric sanguine. I think you're melancholic choleric or choleric melancholic, but those are your two for sure.
We'll have to talk.
Phlegmatic's easygoing. So Max is phlegmatic. Eeyore is phlegmatic. They're like peaceful, easygoing. Keone in our family is the peacemaker, doesn't want to like cause trouble.
Let me tell you something though about your daughter, Kiara. She reminds me a lot of myself.
She reminds me a lot of me too. Matt calls her the new and improved Cameron.
Yeah, she reminds me a lot of myself.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she is. Both of your girls are.
But she's hard to parent. Like, so my point in bringing this up is I understand more now. You're like, oh my goodness, like choleric kids in general. So I think you're melancholic choleric. So it would be interesting to see what Grammy said about raising you. But I am definitely choleric sanguine.
Do you know,
I would have been harder to parent.
I was an easy child.
Were you?
Because I had 3 younger siblings. So, and you remember my brother and sister are 10 and 11 years
you were the
younger.
mom.
So I took that role. That's Kiara. Kiara takes on like a mother type figure. But I will say, I prayed for 4 girls because I met Dad when I was 15. I knew I was going to marry him. And I said to God, I have to have girls. I just have to have girls. You are a really good mom to boys.
Thank you.
All of my daughters have a different type of bond with their boys. Yeah. All of you. Yeah. You baby your boys a little bit.
I do?
You used to baby Liam a lot.
At your house I did, because at your house he was always in trouble. He was always getting yelled at and screamed
by
at.
Me?
You and Dad, both. Yeah. Well, yelled at and screamed by Dad. You were telling him, taking things away from him. You can't have this. You can't have that. You can't. Why are you doing that? If you were a girl, or like even when he was young, like he'd fall off a bench, like at a restaurant, and we're eating. And if he was a girl, he wouldn't have done that. Do you remember this?
Well, I will tell you something about Avila. I took her to our big production at church that we go to at Prestonwood every year.
Oh, yeah.
And I always took the girls out for, were you at this? I don't think you were there.
No, I've never been.
So we're at a really nice restaurant, take everyone to a restaurant. And I am like, where is Avila? Okay, she had fallen off of her chair and she was under the table and everyone was trying to pick her up. But then we get to the production and one of the special things is when
Sorry, I'm just turning this radiator off. It's hot.
Yeah, it is hot in here. So we're at the gift of Christmas and all the angels come with candles. So the whole church is filled with hundreds of
Oh, that's beautiful.
Candles. Oh, Avila knocks one of the angels over. And I'm just like, where did she come from?
Yeah, you wouldn't know it when she's on that balance beam, huh? She never was coordinator. She's getting more coordinator.
She is. Yeah. I am very proud of her. Yeah, she's changed the most. She's got maturity now. But I was just like, it had to be a frat.
Well, we are gifted at being unique and different.
Yes, you're a good family.
Yeah, we're fun. I like us.
I like you too.
Yeah, so cholerics in particular are very hard to parent. They say cholerics are amazing CEOs.
And what am I?
You're melancholic choleric or choleric melancholic. So melancholics want things. So melancholics want to do things the right way. Meredith's also melancholic. Melancholics want to do things the right way. There is a right way. They want to do it. They're normally more the rule followers, which I think you were saying you were growing up.
I was.
And I like to bend the rules. I'm like, it's the spirit of the law. It's not the rule itself. Melancholics tend to be artistic. They feel things deeply. Like they're quite emotional.
Is that what I am?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, very much so.
I'm very emotional.
Yeah, and they act out of their emotions as well.
Okay, I have a little short story.
Okay, go ahead.
But, Taylor's learning how to drive, and Meredith was out of town, and I'm talking to Taylor about driving, do this, do that, and I'm taking her to a little part-time job she has. Well, there was a dead I have a soft spot for squirrels. I like to feed them.
You feed them out of your kitchen window.
Right?
Yeah.
As Peter would say, Nana has a squirrel feeder. Well, there was one dead, and another one ran out in the road like, my friend.
Flatten.
I'm driving and I'm crying and crying, and Taylor's laughing and laughing. I'm like, hold my hand to her. She goes, Nana, what is going on? And I said, Taylor, that poor little squirrel that was dead, that was his friend. And I'm boo-hoo crying.
That's very melancholic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I am that.
Yeah, that's melancholic. And they also, they tend to be poets, musicians, artists. They see things differently.
Yeah.
And yeah, cholerics are the CEOs, the bosses. They call the shots. But you will tell people what you want. And so I think you're melancholic. I think and you're supposed to do the test when you were a kid, but melancholic choleric is what I think you are, where I am choleric sanguine. So my second one's fun, whatever. So, so someone that is very sanguine would be
the Pope.
He probably actually is sanguine. Lisanne, my friend Lisanne, is so sanguine. So the very first time she met Kiara, she's like, oh, or was it Avila? Whoever she was meeting, she's like, let me go get dressed up. And she came down in her wedding dress, right? She just is so.
And she has 5 kids now.
I think she has 6.
No. 5? Is it 6?
No, she has 6. Yeah. I don't know if I'm turning this thing the right way because it is hot. Sorry.
She's such a beautiful family.
Tigger is sanguine. It's fun. It's let's do stuff. They can do stuff last minute, no problem. It'll be great. Let's just do it. And they're very cheery disposition. Phlegmatics sometimes can be woe is me.
Do you know who that is? Bella, my dog. We'll look at Bella and we'll she's just like Eeyore. Isn't she the sweetest?
Yeah.
When she starts staring at the wall, I'm like, well, that's,
Yeah. So the thing about phlegmatics is they're easygoing, which is great, but they tend to be a little more of a downer, where sanguines are a little more, yay, up here, and sometimes can be more shallow and less likely, or melancholics are here's my heart. I know everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, so parenting cholerics is very hard. So Kiara from the age, I don't know, probably 18 months until probably 3. Every day I had to ask her who the boss was. I'm like, Kiara, who's the boss? Not you. Kiara, who's the boss? Dad's the boss. Kiara, who else is the boss?
She is very much
Jesus. I'm like, Kiara, who? Mama Mary, not you. You not the boss. I'm like, Kiara, we're not going until you can say, fine, you the boss. And just really, and she's a what we call a very well-formed choleric now, because she understands she can't just get her way. She can't.
Yeah. She does have a kind heart.
She's very kind. And even making sure others are included, where a lot of cholerics are no, I'm just looking out for me, number one. And she's not like that at all. And I think there's more, it tends to be more of a masculine.
What's interesting is Dad can kind of be that way.
So I do think Dad is choleric as well. Sorry, I'm just going to turn the light on so I can see which way I need to turn this thing. Open, close. Close is that way.
I remember sitting
I made it hotter, sorry.
I remember sitting at MD Anderson, and everyone at MD Anderson, which is a cancer hospital, they want to tell you their testimony. They want to tell you what they've been through. Well, that was the hardest thing for your dad, because I'm like elbowing dad saying that man is trying to share, he's got an IV in his arm.
Yeah.
He is trying to share his story with you.
You're very melancholic because you want to hear the story and you want to sit in it with them. And I can hear it. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to hear it. And then I'm like, okay, can we move on? This is kind of depressing. Like,
Well,
yeah.
I'm not like that.
No, you're not.
But Dad is.
No,
Dad,
that's my point. You are melancholic. So I
Yeah.
think you're melancholic choleric. Rachel is texting right now.
is she
Smile.
watching?
No, she's not. We're not live. But she's wondering what I'm doing. So I'm just going to send her that. Which will be fun. And
Her
then when
ears
she watches,
are burning. Her ears are
pretty
burning.
much. Yeah, I haven't gotten a text from her in a while. So, yeah, okay, let's see. What was the point of that? Or where were we going with that?
We're just talking about different people's personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were talking about growing up, you wanted to be like your grandparents. So like Grampy's parents.
Yes.
And so you tried to raise us more like they...
But in saying that, my grandmother was a little too prim and proper, where everyone called her Mrs. Fulham, and it was all like she was a little bit on a pedestal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit on a pedestal. Where my grandfather was just genuine and loving and loved him.
Yeah.
Which I really didn't know my dad a lot.
Yeah.
Where my grandfather opened up more.
I feel like maybe he didn't know himself either.
Yeah. Oh, that could be true.
Yeah. I think it was a bit of a lost soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
got a good dad.
I did. I got a great dad.
Yeah.
Thank you. You did well. You chose wisely. Other than the fact that all my bones and everything aches when I stand up.
Yeah.
That's one bad thing I got from Dad.
Yeah. They crack too.
Yeah. Yeah. All the, like I'll move certain ways. And Pat's like seriously? Like, I know, I feel like a 90-year-old man. Like I have my dad's knees. No, and Dad was really good about doing stuff with us all the time.
All the
too.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of my fondest memories are when we lived in South Carolina, going out on the boat. Going out on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah. Mine too, Cameron.
Yeah, and him coaching us. He was always coach of softball or soccer or whatever else.
Yeah.
He was always traveling when we had our birthday parties that were slumber parties.
Dad did travel quite a bit.
Oh.
I know.
4 girls. A bajillion girls spending the night at the house. He's like, and I'm going to be out of town that day. Or did you plan it for when he was out of town?
Well, do you remember, you girl? Is this for women only?
Yeah.
Oh, so you all got your period at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
fair.
Dad's like,
not the same years, obviously, because we're spread out quite a bit.
But a lot of times at the same time, and Dad's like,
you kind of make you sync together.
And me too. And Dad's like,
5 women.
I'm going fishing. I'm doing this.
Yeah,
I took a job.
Fair.
Yeah.
Did you like mark it on a calendar? This is when I'm going to be out of town. Same time. Schedule me same time every month to be gone.
Right?
No, I just meant when we were younger, we would do slumber parties, but like he wasn't there for those.
Oh no, that's not Dad.
Oh, I know, but it's also just a bunch of girls. Why does he?
Yeah, I loved all that.
Yeah, and the themes of the birthday parties and all the things. We often were like the house that everyone wanted to hang out with.
Yeah, and I liked that too.
Yeah.
I liked having a pool.
Yeah, you liked us outside. Don't bring mess, but you're all very welcome in the backyard. I'm like that too, though. I think I get that from you. I love hosting people.
Yeah.
But especially with kids, like I like having kids, and a couple in my house is fine. But if it's a big amount, I'd much rather be outside.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have a trampoline. Like, let's eat dinner out there. Let's grill.
I have gotten better though. I've gotten better as I've gotten older with all my grandkids like coming over. I don't care what they do.
Really?
Yeah. No, that's true. Like, ask your sisters, because it's then like, just leave, don't pick up. Like Kirsten will try to clean and pick up after everyone. I'm like, just leave, because it's easier for me to do it when y'all are gone.
We spent a Christmas at your house, and my kids were not allowed to bring any toy into the main part of the house. They had to stay up in Poppy's office with the toys because of your new puppy.
Which puppy was it?
I don't know. Peter was a baby. It's when he was on a feeding tube. Do you remember that?
Oh gosh.
I guess it was.
That would have been probably Kennedy and Murphy.
I don't know.
It wasn't Bella.
But I remember Liam had like a new toy that he really wanted to play with. And like, you only could play with it up there. I think it's when you first set up the tent. Because I think I
in the playroom upstairs.
In the tent upstairs.
Well, that's why it was called a playroom. And did I have 2 trees at that time? Because
I think you did.
always
Yeah, you had
worried.
two trees.
Yeah, I always worried about a tree coming down.
Yeah. Tell us about Christmas decorations now that we've mentioned the trees.
I did get a little Christmas tree for my camper.
Did you?
It's really cute. It's like this tall. And Dad's like,
So now how many trees have you owned over the years?
I do
'Cause
two.
you have two gorgeous, massive ones in the house.
I just do 2 trees, Cameron.
Okay. But tell us how you decorate them. And
Well, you know what? Now that I'm older and have a hard time going up and down on the ladder, your sister Meredith gives me the gift of her time.
oh, okay. She's
And
very good at decorating.
She is
She got your gift of it.
so good at decorating. So I've got the kids' tree and then a formal tree. And my formal tree has angels and more religious items. I love icons. They're out on that tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me some pictures. We'll have to put some up on. I'll do an Instagram thing of all the. We'll do like a Thanksgiving decorations and then a Christmas one. What about moms that are listening with little kids? What's your advice for holidays with them?
Just keep them safe. I always worry about the tree falling over, honestly. Because when I was growing up, I was at my girlfriend's house, Mary Roach, who had 2 brothers, and her brother's bathrobe. And this is real trees. Like, we grew up with real trees. Got caught on a branch. And I'll never forget standing there and watching that whole tree come down on Robbie Roach.
Oh my goodness, was he okay?
Yeah, he was fine. But I always had a fear that someone's going to knock a tree down.
It makes sense why I always got yelled at when I was near the Christmas tree. Cameron, you're gonna knock over the tree. I'm like, I'm not. Nobody's ever knocked over the tree. What is she going on about?
Yeah, I grew up
There you
with
go.
Robbie Roach.
He knocked over the tree. He's the reason.
He
I
was
always
under the tree. He was under the tree.
Was it his brother? Who's the reason I always got in trouble for running near the tree? The other brother? Whoever knocked it over?
Oh, Donnie Roach. No, it was he was in his bathrobe. And I guess his bathrobe got caught on the tree and you couldn't even see him.
He brought the tree down.
I have a fear of someone being under that Christmas tree. And think about all the money that you spend on ornaments.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
A lot.
I don't spend nearly as much as you.
Listen, the little glass ornaments from Starbucks right now, it's just a little Starbucks cup. It's made out of glass, but it says Texas on it, $9.99.
I would never buy that, ever.
Of course I did.
You would. You would. I will get like ornaments like if I'm traveling. So I got a beautiful one with Joan of Arc on it. I got you one too.
I think so.
When I was in Rouen, I got you one that has, I think it says Rouen on one side and then it's Joan of Arc. It's lovely. It's porcelain, I think, not glass. And that was probably expensive. Like, it was a nice ornament. But I also, I love doing, acorns with the kids. I love, them making ornaments. You like that, too.
I grew up
making ornaments.
Picking up pine cones and having blisters on my hands, making pine cone wreaths.
Yeah. I think that's more, especially if you have little kids, you shouldn't be buying the $9 Starbucks thing. So I think, first of all, just don't buy that. And then I think also, the few, I don't have that many, but my nice Christmas ornaments are all at the very top of the tree. The bottom ones aren't.
What's on the bottom of my tree? Bells. So if any little kid goes near the tree.
Oh, you hear it.
I hear the bell, and I'm like, do not get into that tree.
It just also makes a pretty little decoration, tying little bells on bells.
But you can hear those bells.
That's true. That's good advice. Okay, what other little tidbits like that? Tie bells on your tree. What else?
Well, when you guys were growing up, you made a lot of the ornaments. Do you remember we would sit...
The cranberries?
And popcorn.
I did love that. I need to do that with my kids this year.
Yeah, and paper chains. Do you remember the paper chains?
I do. I remember the paper chains. The cranberries are just raw. You just do the raw. Yeah. And then, was it oranges? What did we do with oranges?
Oh, I used to dry
the cloves.
Oranges. Oh, no. Every year. I still do this. You buy oranges and cloves, and it smells so good.
You stab them with a fork, and then you put the cloves in?
Well, I don't know if it was a fork, but yeah, you would stab them, put the clove in, and then I'd have a whole bowl of them. And when you walked in the room, remember that smell? It smelled good. We need to do that with my kids. My kids would love that. Okay, that's why I like your diffuser.
It's cloves. You know what else? I had citrus in it. It was citrus and clove. That's why we liked it.
Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just fusing citrus and clove essential oil. And I love the smell too. And I think that's why. I remember doing it with a fork because I specifically remember these oranges. And Meredith, she's melancholic. My sister is so artistic. We're 14 months apart, and Meredith was like picture perfect, did everything right. And she would take her fork and go like this and do it in such a way, all of her holes like were perfectly lined up.
Yeah.
So she would have this orange, and the cloves made these gorgeous lines. And I was like, and my cloves, and you'd be like, Cameron, and then I give up because I'm like, I'm just done. I'm done. And you're like, what about this huge section where it's orange? I'm like, it's fine. I didn't want to finish it because I couldn't compare it to hers. I'm like, my orange will never look like hers.
Okay.
Here, Meredith, you can finish it if you want.
My favorite thing to do when you guys were little, and now we started making gingerbread houses.
Oh yeah, you still do that.
I still do it with all the grandchildren, and we make a big deal out of it. But when you were little, this is a secret for moms out there, I would buy a birdhouse and decorate it.
Are you kidding? Is that why yours always looks so good and never ever fell?
Perfect. And so you know what we do now? We buy the
I never knew that.
We buy the pre-made kits, and I always buy extra candy and stuff. We hot glue them together.
Is that why they look so good?
That's why they look so good.
Ah. Is your mouth watering just hearing this?
Hi, Peter.
Yeah. That's why yours always look so good. I could never get mine. And what's funny is we've done it, and the girls are like, mine don't glue together. I'm like, we've got to ask Nana. Nana's always glued together, and so do Aunt Meredith. So
yeah. And the other thing we would do, I don't know if you remember this, but we would take pine cones, put ribbons on them.
I do
roll
remember
them
that.
in peanut butter and birdseed.
Peter, we've got to do this. You would love this. We've done it before. Do you remember the pine cones? And we'd roll it in peanut butter and birdseed and hang it out. We could find a tree outside and we'll decorate it.
It's so much fun
for Christmas.
So up north, you would take your tree out and just leave it on your patio, and we would decorate that particular tree.
Oh, really? Like with the stand and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, just slide it on out.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Yeah, living in the South. Well, for us, living in the South, it's a little different now.
Yeah.
Everything used to be fresh greens, fresh everything. And now in Texas,
I like the fresh greens. We got a bunch of fresh greens in the park behind our house, and we wrapped ribbons on it. Oh, you made me bows. Was that last year? Oh, that's
right. That was last year. I made you
made me bows. And so I just put your bows. We should do that again. My mom's very good at making bows. I can't make a bow to save my life.
Brian Bowling is better than I am. Brian makes a good bow.
Meredith and Kirsten make good bows. Can Keon do bows?
I don't know, but
I cannot do a bow to save my life.
Okay, speaking of Keon, this is what I told you girls today. They were like, or this was yesterday, we were wrapping all those presents, and your girls are like, Nana, do you like to wrap? And I'm like, no. And they're like,
Aunt Keon is the best rapper.
When Keon was about 5 or 6, I started paying her every Christmas.
Oh, do not touch that. Do not touch that. Oh, Peter, do not touch. Bye-bye. Get out. Get out. I think we're still recording. All right, Mom, keep telling us about Aunt Keon.
So I would pay Keon every Christmas to wrap my gifts.
Okay, good job. I think we're still okay. Sorry about that. Well, I'm tired of pretending, ready to be real. My son is going to come in and mess up our scene halfway through. I got to take the sweater off. We're still recording. Yes, but I remember Meredith and I rapping before that.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But do you remember?
I was good at rapping. You would let me rap, but I wasn't allowed to put
Let me tell you what you were good at. I would have all the presents wrapped and hid.
Oh, I was the queen of being able to get into them, and I could rewrap them very well.
That's a very true story.
That is very true. I could do it in such a way. I'm like,
But Christmas morning, you had the acting gig going on. Like,
I'm so surprised. This does not look at all the same as the one I opened last month. And that was your other thing. You always bought ahead of time. So there was presents to be found year-round. That's also how, and I think that's maybe even how I learned to rap. I learned how to braid hair by undoing Meredith's French braid and then redoing it.
Do you remember the time you cut it off?
No, she cut off mine.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes. Do you know why I had short hair all those years? Come on. I did so many things wrong. This is one of the things Meredith did wrong. She wanted to play hairdresser.
I remember when she walked in with a braid. Someone walked in with a braid.
It was her because it was my hair.
And I looked at it.
I
and
had
kept
2 long braids. Mom would always do French braids, really nice French braids on her hair, 2 long ones. And Meredith wanted to play hairdresser. I don't even think I wanted to play. I'm like, I don't want to play. And she like made me play. And she was using real scissors, and she went, and it was so close.
And it was a whole braid.
An entire braid. She cut off a whole braid.
I just remember staring at it thinking, what is this? What is this?
And that's why I had short hair the majority of my life.
The things you girls do. Do you remember the Nicolini's in West Newbury that lived across the street?
Yeah.
I had the sweetest little parakeet. And I went out shopping, and I came home, and I said to Dad, the bird looks different. Why does the bird look different? And so he's like, Carrie, the bird doesn't have any feathers left. And I said, where are the feathers? Rachel Nicolini and Meredith plucked that bird clean.
What? Why?
And Dad had to take the bird to the vet. Listen to this. They gave him a special powder to put on the bird. Dad said he probably spent like $100 on that parakeet. And we're going back many years. And he goes, I really thought about just leaving it on the side of the road and going to the pet store and buying another
one. Would you have noticed?
Probably. I mean, every
so
single
they
feather.
just like the feathers, so they just pulled them all off?
All of them. Every single.
How old were they?
Little girls.
Oh my goodness. I do not remember that story.
Do you remember Ian with Isabella? That was my cockatiel.
Is that who he sat on?
He stepped on her.
Oh, stepped on. Oh, yeah.
And I came home, and there was a gift box. And I was thinking, someone left me a present. And
oh, no.
They wrapped it. They gift wrapped the bird.
What?
And I was
Why?
reading it, and it was just like a cardboard paper. What's that paper that's just brown? And they drew birds on it, and it said, bye-bye, Isabella, with a ribbon on it. And I was like, it took me a few minutes. And I was like, what is going on? Ian felt horrible. They weren't married yet.
He gift wrapped it for you? Like for you to open it and see the dead bird?
No, for me to bury the bird.
Oh, okay. Did it say do not open on it? Because that would be...
No, it had little birds flying. Bye-bye, Isabella. I loved that bird.
I vaguely remember that. I think I was maybe in Canada then.
I don't know.
I think I was doing that somewhere. I don't think I was there for it, but...
I don't know how we got on this.
I don't know. I remember when we put Ginger down. I remember driving up from Houston. Was in the middle of a class, and Keone or you called me hysterical, like couldn't breathe, crying so bad. And I remember driving from there up to the Woodlands. I'm like, just stay at the vet. I'm coming.
I've been married 45 years, had all these dogs. Not once has Dad ever been home when a dog was ready to be put to sleep or died. Ever.
Really? You've owned a lot of dogs. How many dogs do you think you've owned? The majority of my life, you had 2 or 3.
Yeah, well, Ginger lived to be 17. That was my SPCA dog. But yeah, Dad's never been home. It's always been me. And it's always like,
And they're big dogs. A lot of them are like Airedales. It's not like a little, here we go, poor thing, we'll lay it in a box.
And then the vets have to
break my back, dig it a hole.
Trying to put the poor dogs to sleep, and I'm on top of their little bodies. And
I remember like trying to pull you and Keone out of the room. I think Kirsten was maybe at college. Was Keone in high school?
Did you know that there is a dog heaven? There is.
I believe you've told me that before.
Let me tell you, ever since I've been a child...
Thomas Aquinas may disagree.
No, there is a dog heaven. And ever since I've been a child, until my adulthood, and I'm 65.
Oh! Jeez, what? So I am a spaz, and I get startled easily, and I jump, and I get it from my mom.
Oh, sorry.
I jump first. No, I was doing an episode the other day.
This house is spooky.
Well, it's gotten dark out, too. It just got dark
That
really
was
quick.
a little spooky.
I was doing an interview with someone else. Mom, I didn't even know this woman. I'm like talking. She's talking, and I'm listening. This blew open.
Oh, gosh.
I was like, ah!
You do get that from me.
I get that from you.
You do get that
and
from
so
me.
we both just jumped.
Well, anyways, to get back to dead animals.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Among the Lilies, where we're not afraid to talk about all of our dead pets.
No, it's not just pets. If there's a bunny, a deer.
Dead animals in general. All the dead animals.
I always pray for them. Always.
What about Lucy?
Oh yeah, Lucy, that was sad too.
Oh gosh, I don't want to talk about that.
No.
No, we're not going to
No,
talk about that.
we love and miss all the dead animals.
I will start crying. Do you know how many dead deer I saw yesterday?
There's
Do
a
you know how
lot
many
of dead
prayers-
deer around
Do you
here.
know how many prayers I said last night?
Do you know the friars here? The Franciscan University has on the Feast of St. Francis, they have a day that you can bring all your pets.
I love that.
And someone brought a parakeet. We brought a couple kittens and Max, the big old
I
dog.
love that.
And they bless all the animals.
I've done that before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Father Sean that you met from Boston
Yeah.
as well. They were like, they had already wrapped up and we got there a little late.
But you never want a dead bird on the stoop of your front steps. Ever.
Okay.
That's bad luck. That's Irish.
And we've had a lot of dead moles. I don't know if we've had dead birds.
Birds. You never want a dead bird. My sister Michelle actually left a house she wanted to buy. She saw a dead bird on the front step.
Okay, we also were those crazy families that used to buy statues of Saint Joseph and bury them in the front yard.
How many have I buried? Probably 8.
Mom, that's the most statues you've ever owned, and you don't have any of them. You left them in the ground on houses that you have sold,
And they have to
all
be
over the
upside
country.
down, and they have to be facing north. I think.
My mom, ladies and gentlemen. We were, I forget what house we were trying to sell. We've only owned, this is our 3rd house that we've owned. And I remember one of them, our last one sold within the weekend, right? It was,
Did you have Francis?
no, I didn't bury any statues. And I was like, wait till my mom finds out we had 4 or 5 offers after that one weekend. And a couple of them were above asking. And I'm like, and we didn't even need to bury any statues in the yard.
Yeah, I was.
We have plenty of real ones in the house,
Yeah.
but
Each
no.
house I've had not just one statue, probably several.
Yes.
Because I wasn't
You
sure.
were more of the
I'm like-
stereotypical Irish New England
Yeah.
Catholic.
And I'm like, wait, are you supposed to bury it upside down or right side up? Let's just get a couple to make sure. Is it facing north or south? I can't remember. Let's just do both.
This is not something I condone. I do not think you should be buying statues to bury them in your yard. Just,
That's funny.
All right. Anything else? Any last departing words you have?
No, I
for
did
my
really
ladies?
good because, I'm very shy.
You've done great.
Yeah,
I think the glass of wine helps.
I think
and
so,
You've done
'cause,
great, Mom.
I mean,
Wonderful
people
interview.
don't realize that about me, but I can be very shy.
You have done amazing. You've been a great guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
thanks for coming on. It's been so fun. I'm sorry I accidentally turned the heat the wrong way.